Good afternoon from a very foggy Scottish Highlands, and welcome to Season 2 of the American Highlander. I figured we'd kick things off with a question that's hiding in plain sight. Namely, what is it that drives some people who may be from different parts of the world, different countries, different hemispheres, the other side of the planet, to leave their old lives behind, and if they can, come here and build a new life in Scotland? Is it genetic memory? Is there such a thing as genetic memory? Is it reincarnation in past lives? Is it Scottish culture itself? In Scottish culture, what it's given to the world is remarkable. Is it, you like the scenery? What is it that exerts such a pull on the soul that people uproot their entire lives and start over here? I can tell you that for me it's been a calling since childhood. And there are various reasons for it. We'll get into that. But what I find interesting is that in the comments, a lot of you have reported you feel the same calling as well. And that's interesting to me. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think people have really talked about this in depth. So, let's dive into it. And we've also got some other stuff coming up in this episode. So, let's go ahead and get started. Many people dream of returning to the home of their ancestors, Scotland. Last year, in 2025, I fulfilled a lifelong ambition and bought my dream home in the Scottish Highlands. I've made some incredible new friends along the way, and now, in 2026, I'm letting go of the past and building a new life for myself as I explore this amazing land. My name's Jason, and I live in the far north of the Scottish Highlands. This is my story. Welcome to the American Highlander. This is Yarrows Broch, and this is interesting for a couple of reasons. First off, unlike most Brochs, it has two entrances. And secondly, you can see it's partially submerged. Here, let me show you on my phone, because that camera might be able to pick it up a little bit better. Definitely don't want to step in that down there. I'll never get out. So, I find Brochs fascinating because it's very complex architecture, and these are thousands of years old. Humanity has settled and lived in this area for a very, very long time. And some of these stories are lost to time, but some of them can be preserved, and they should be, because it's part of the cultural tapestry of this land. It's part of the story of Scotland. Yeah, several of you have asked in the comments what drew me here ever since I was a child. And it is the subject of this video. What is this calling that brings some people to Scotland, even if they're on the other side of the planet in completely different cultures? When I was a kid, I was, oh God, I don't know, 4 years old, 5 years old. I played one of the very first video games. It was called Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar. And it opened with, you're in the real world, and there's a stone circle in your backyard, and a mysterious shimmering gate opens. And you step through it, and you enter this fantasy world. But it's not a standard fantasy quest. It's not defeat the dragon or that sort of thing. It's discover shrines to virtues and learn them and become a better person. It's one of the most unique stories I've ever experienced. And so when I come to Brochs like this, it stirs something in me that I haven't thought about in over 40 years. Being that little kid, visiting ancient shrines, learning old wisdom, trying to become a better person, stepping through a magic gate into a fantasy land. Such things can have a very powerful impact on a young mind, particularly since that world, there were places in it like Skara Brae, which from here isn't that far away. I just have to hop on the ferry. I think a lot of us read fantasy novels or watch movies. We see people stepping into magic portals, being whisked away to distant lands, having amazing adventures and feeling alive again, discovering themselves again. That can be done in real life. I'm doing it right now. Honest to God, it's real. You can leave the noisy city behind. The crime, the pollution, the strangers at every turn, the hard faces on the subway train. You can leave it all behind. You can build a new life in some place that's half real and half myth. I found my home here in the far north of Scotland. May you find what you're looking for. May all of us. My hometown of Golspie is one of the most amazing places to live in Scotland. One thing the town is known for is its rowing club. They've won multiple world championships, they sponsor several local events, and they really are one of the major pillars of the community here. The New Year's Torch Parade, which you saw in last week's episode, was put on by them, and since a major purpose of this channel is to promote local organizations and businesses, I wanted to feature them if I could. So, here's a little bit on the Golspie Rowing Club. Because when I moved here, top of mind, people were like, have you heard about the rowing club?
Mm-hmm. That was great to hear.
And I was like, are you guys like Delta Force out there or something?
I know, certainly not, no. But we are, I mean, the club is very active in the village. I mean, we do a few other events as well and things and promote ourselves as much as we can, so.
Let's talk about the events. Mm-hmm. So, there was the New Year's Day Torchlight Parade.
Yes.
And we were filming that, and we found out at the end that you would put that on. The rowing club had actually put on that event.
Yes.
So, what sort of other events here in the community is the rowing club behind?
Well, we do another event called the Three Peaks Challenge, which is either a running, a walking, or a combined, or a cycle and hike event over the three sort of major peaks. Two of them, which are actually the names of our two boats that we have here, Ben Braggy and Silver Rock.
Okay.
And there's another one, Ben Horn, which is a little further over. So you have to, we start up in the glen and they go up the first one, Ben Horn, and then they make their way by road or wind track farm and up and around the other two peaks and then back here and finish here.
Now tell me about the regattas that happen here. Like these are a couple of times a year, or what are some of the major rowing events?
Most clubs all hold their own regatta. Obviously, it comes with its challenges as well because you've got to have, a lot of manpower to set up a course because it involves rowing around buoys, and you have to get safety boats. So it's some of the smaller clubs maybe can't manage regattas, but most clubs do hold some form of racing regatta, which again that's an old tradition revamped again because the old fishing village used to race each other.
Right. What's the average age of someone who's in the club? Because it seems like most people doing this are my age and up.
Yeah, that's true. I would say the average age is between 45 and 50 would probably be.
Nice. I mean, I imagine it's phenomenal for physical fitness.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very good. I mean, it's good for your core. It's good for your cardio. It's the full body workout. As I've said to other people, a lot of institutions now use the indoor rowing machine as their standard for judging people's fitness.
What are some of the challenges for someone who's new, who doesn't know anything about rowing? Like, do you have to worry about depth of water, currents? Like, what are some of the things that you become conscious of when you get out there?
Well, obviously, it depends what sort of disposition you have. If you're fairly outgoing and adventurous, then it's probably something that's absolutely you'd love. More cautious people should take in the reassurance that the beam of the boat is over 5 foot wide, so they're incredibly stable. It's not a new design of boat. This is an old that's been revamped, if you know what I mean. So that they're incredibly stable in the water. In big seas, we've had them out rowing and we've been surfing in waves down through and having great fun with that. But the initial thing is probably is launching from at the shore if there is a bit of a wave. That's probably the most dangerous, or not dangerous, but difficult part to do, because you've got to get it away from the shore as quick as you can. So launching from the shore is probably one of the hardest things to master, first of all.
Did I hear you say you surf these skiffs?
We've surfed down waves in them, yes.
It's just
Not like your big Hawaiian
right.
rollers, but you can feel the wave picking the boat up and it's taking it along, and you try to stay on it as long as you can. So
nice.
Absolutely anybody can jump into this. You'll be put into an experienced crew if you're the first time you've been out in the boat, and the cocks will keep you right with regards to how you row, giving you pointers to lean further forward or further back, and you would have some form of a life preserver on as well. So, and you're not that far away from the actual the beach anyway, if there was any difficulty.
If someone's new and they're thinking of getting involved in this, like, what's some of the best advice you could give someone who's new to it?
Get in touch with your local club, come down and give it a go. I think you'll be surprised just how much you will really enjoy it. And all the clubs have a good, solid community spirit about them, and are very inclusive. I would like you to come and join them.
It's said that the people who really make a go of it in the Highlands and get the most out of their new lives are those who get involved in their local communities. Certainly here in the far north, I would say that's very true. This is a small, tight-knit, high-trust society, something which, until fairly recently, was the norm instead of the exception in most of our world. In today's increasingly fractured world, it's good to know that places and communities like this still exist, keeping the magic of the far north alive.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to local business. This is one that I've talked about before. I'm doing this for free. It's my friend Ed down in Allness, which is in Easterross, not too far away from here. He runs a clothing company called By Sea by Land. I'll put the URL up on the screen. It is winter. I am surrounded by snow. The current temperature is -2 degrees, last I checked. And I am wearing a By Sea by Land hoodie. And I'm so warm that I've got the sleeves rolled up. I mean, honestly, what more do I need to say? The clothing designs are fantastic. It's done local. The embroidery is done locally. This is a local business. I am, again, wearing this clothing, not because I'm being paid to do so, but because it is genuinely keeping me warm right now in the middle of winter. So, if that's something you need, or if it appeals to you, go to the link on screen, check it out for yourself, By Sea by Land. It's good stuff. Hey, let's do a couple of channel shout-outs. The first shout-out that I want to give is to a channel that I've recommended before, Middle of Nowhere, run by my friend Fergus Cooney.
Hi everyone, this is Fergus Cooney, out in the middle of nowhere, which also happens to be the name of my channel, out in the far northwest Highlands, and I would like to wish you all a wonderful 2026. All the best.
He's based out of Ullapool, which is in Westeros, and he's got the entire northwestern Highlands basically as his backyard. His photography and cinematography are outstanding. And he sent me this, his 2026 calendar featuring his photography.
Now, I actually needed a calendar. This is probably going to go on my kitchen wall. And it's pretty easy to recommend his content when he can get images like this. So I highly encourage you, if you haven't checked out Middle of Nowhere already, go take a look at it. I think Fergus does an amazing job, and he really should get more visibility and more exposure just by virtue of the cinematography alone. And he's also very good on camera and a good presenter, so go check him out. The other channel that I want to recommend is one that I actually haven't talked about before. This channel is run by a native Scot, and I love it. It's one of my favorite Scotland-based channels. I stumbled across it about a year and a half ago, something like that. It's called Linda Outdoors. This channel is so much fun to watch. Linda is out hiking, climbing mountains, just photographing nature, going on long nature walks with her dog Brora. And of course, Brora is the name of the village just to the north of Golspie, where I'm at here in southeastern Sutherland. And what got my attention about her channel is, if you look on YouTube and you try to look up information about the far north, there really isn't anything out there except for like van life channels doing the NC 500. And I stumbled across Linda's channel when I was house hunting up here, and she had done like nature walks through Balblair Wood, Loch Fleet National Nature Reserve, Brora Beach. I mean, she was going all over southeastern Sutherland and the surrounding areas. And it gave me a really good ground level view of images and places that I was seeing in real estate listings online and on Google Maps. So it was actually really helpful for me with going with what my gut was telling me, that yeah, I wanted to be up here in the far north, and particularly here in Sutherland. So I think at the moment she's only got somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3,900 subscribers. So you know what to do. Let's get her subscriber count up. I think Linda Outdoors is a channel that definitely merits your attention. So after you're done watching this video, go check her out and tell her I said hi. So I think that's enough for channel shout outs for this week. Let's go see what Annabelle's up to.
There's another YouTube channel shout out that I want to give, and this one's a little different. It's called Planet Wild. I discovered Planet Wild because about a year ago they did a video talking about rewilding a chunk of Caledonian forest up here in the Scottish Highlands. And they actually had to kill a bunch of trees first in order to do it. They had to take a monoculture forest and rewild it, turn it into a forest with the correct biodiversity to actually support a native habitat, what would have been here in the past. And I thought that was really interesting because they did that over a chunk of land. I think it was like 30 hectares in size. That got my attention because, I was looking to move up here. And I started following their nature conservation projects on their YouTube channel. And then just recently, the opportunity arose for them to partner with me. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because you know my rule. I won't allow a paid sponsor on this channel unless it's a product or service that I personally believe in. It has to be something that I think you would genuinely find interesting. And Planet Wild does genuinely fit that bill. I want to emphasize, this is not a charity. Like, my personal issue with charities is you do a charitable donation, and in the back of your mind, you're thinking, or at least I'm thinking, is that actually going to help starving children in Africa, or is it just lining some corporate executive's pocket? Your money disappears into a black hole, and you're always kind of left wondering. Planet Wild is not a charity. It's a membership. It's the best way to put this. It's crowd-funded nature conservation.
Every month, the community funds a project that protects our oceans, brings back species, or rewilds forests. And you get to see the impact of these through monthly video reports on YouTube. In their app, they also share one-year mission updates, so you can see how the project has progressed.
That video that I just mentioned, where they rewilded a chunk of Caledonian forest here in the Highlands, they did a follow-up video. And it was, okay, we killed a bunch of trees and completely changed a chunk of forest. Did it work? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see the efforts of this money being put to good use. That makes me feel good about being a member. So I'll put a QR code somewhere up on the screen, and the first 100 people who use that code, your membership for the first month will be paid for. And keep in mind, you can cancel at any time. So if for whatever reason you don't like this, okay, fair enough. But I think you probably will like it. Because I do like the idea of supporting nature conservation efforts from the comfort of my living room. So take a look, see what you think. I'll actually do something I don't normally do. I haven't done this before on this channel. At the end of my videos, there's a little pop-up card in the upper corner that links to another one of my videos because I want to keep you watching my channel. I'll actually link out to that Planet Wild video that I just talked about, where they're introducing a new forest up here in the Highlands. So you can actually take a look and see it for yourself. You can see what I saw. Judge for yourself that way. All right. Let's talk about the main subject of today's video, which is, what is this compulsion that drives some people, myself included, to uproot their entire lives, and in some cases move across oceans, across continents, to this country and build new lives for themselves here in Scotland? Let's start with what I think it isn't. I think it isn't just a matter of raw scenery. And don't get me wrong, the scenery behind me is absolutely gorgeous. Every time I look at that mountain in the background, especially now, because it's dotted with snow, it stirs something in me. I'm not entirely sure how to explain it, but I look at it and I hear like Wagnerian operas playing, and it stirs something Nordic and Celtic and maybe Anglo-Saxon, and I don't know, it's just like, Northwestern Europe, arise! And what I find interesting about this is it's not a unique experience. Many of you in the comments have reported similar reactions. You feel called to this area. And that's interesting to me. I want to dive into that. So I think it has to be more than just scenery. For instance, I'll give you an example of a couple of countries I've been to that have very similar scenery. Norway and Switzerland. Both, again, scenery is jaw-dropping, very much on par with what you would get here in Scotland. And they both have a language barrier. And I have family in Norway, so if I could speak the language and I wasn't already living here in the Scottish Highlands, I'd be very tempted to live in Norway if I could get in. But I can't say the same about other parts of the world that might have comparable scenery. For instance, the Lake District in southern Chile. I mean, that's jaw-droppingly gorgeous scenery. But I don't feel drawn to it. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see it one day. But I don't want to live there. And I try to put my finger on why. And I think it has to be a matter of cultural compatibility, because Norway and Switzerland, as an example, are European. Chile is South American. So in all three cases, there's a language barrier, but Chile is further away from me culturally. I don't feel as drawn to it. And is it really that surprising that there would be a cultural component? I mean, for instance, Trevor Noah the former host of The Daily Show, wrote in his memoir that he felt more comfortable around black South Africans because of the shared language and cultural practices. And I don't think that's something to be decried or condemned. I think it should be celebrated. And I believe the same is true if you're descended from Northwestern Europe. Logically, you probably would have more of an affinity for the cultures of Northwestern Europe because it's your ancestral homelands. Especially if we take a look at people of Scottish descent living elsewhere in the world. I'm going to use America as an example. In the United States, there are an estimated 25 million people of Scottish descent. That is 5 times the number of people living in Scotland right now. And if you go to the US, I mean, you'll see Highland games that are organized over there that knock your socks off. And these are put together and participated in by people who, in many cases, have never been here. They may have never seen Scotland with their own eyes. And thus, they feel very drawn to a culture and a place that exists in their mind's eye. And I'll adjust the filter here. The sun went behind clouds. There we go, it's a little better. And I find that really fascinating. And if you dive into it, how many of you grew up with parents or grandparents or maybe aunts and uncles that kept some of the old cultural practices alive and would reminisce fondly about the old world? That can, again, have a very powerful impact on a young mind, particularly since as we get older, it's only natural that we start to search for our tribe. Where do we fit in the world? Where are our people? And thus, I believe there must be a cultural component to this. And I think that's important because culture and ethnicity are not the same thing. Yes, there are ethnically Scottish people, there are ethnically English people, ethnically French people, ethnic Han Chinese. But you can also be culturally Scottish without being ethnically Scottish. And I think that's an important distinction to make. I mean, as a cautionary tale, for instance, look up the story of Liberia. You have 2 tribes of people who look essentially identical, but they have no shared cultural history, and you have one tribe really oppressing to this day another tribe that looks exactly the same as them. So, very cautionary tale for those who believe that ethnicity is the key driver. There are other factors at play, and I think the big one is culture. And the reason why this is important is because cultures can die over time. And we're standing in a land where this has happened. If we go back 1,500 years, we would be speaking Pictish right now. Ironically, we'd be complaining about the small boats, but we'd be complaining about the Scots. And the Picts, as a tribe of humanity, don't exist anymore. Culturally, they're extinct. They once controlled all of this land. Now all we have left are a few scraps in a couple of museums, and that's it. And the same thing can happen today. For instance, take a look at South Korea. Their birth rate is so low that as a tribe of humanity, they have a couple of centuries left, maybe. And the same is true in Japan. The same is true throughout many places in the Western world, just on different time scales. And thus, if you're not naturally propagating a culture, the only other way to do it is people who assimilate into a culture and carry it forward. And I think that's really important. You can't just transplant one group of humanity to another location and say, bang, magic wand, problem solved. they still need to assimilate. They need to assimilate into their host culture. I am an immigrant here. I believe firmly I need to give more than I take, and I need to assimilate into the local culture and help carry it forward. I don't want to turn this into where I came from. I don't want a McDonald's and a Starbucks on every corner. I don't want high-rise buildings. I don't want any of that. But at the same time, I am living in a region that is depopulating. It's been depopulating for 200 years. And thus, encouraging people who want to assimilate into this culture. And yes, that is easier if you are from a background which is highly culturally compatible. Encouraging those people to discover what's up here and experience it, and either visit it and contribute to the local economy, or move here and build new lives here as I've done. Yeah, that's important. It's important because that's how you're going to keep the magic of this culture, this very delicate culture, alive. Now, this is where we get into a little bit of speculative territory. Namely, how deep do the cultural roots go? And what I mean by that is, you ever had deja vu? You're standing somewhere that you've never been, and you go, I've been here before. I've seen this before. Now, one of the most popular theories is reincarnation, past lives. And who knows, that could be true. I honestly don't know. None of us knows. But I want to offer up an alternate theory that actually has some basis in science, which is, what if it's genetic memory? Now again, I'm out on a limb here scientifically. There is some hazy evidence that genetic memory exists in mice. So it's not that much of a leap of faith to say that, it could exist in other mammals, including humans. And the idea behind genetic memory is, when you have offspring, ultimately what are you doing? You're creating a copy of yourself. Your partner's doing the same thing. And in that DNA are instructions. And thus, if you're standing somewhere and experiencing deja vu, you haven't been there before, but maybe one of your ancestors was there before. And thus, you're remembering impressions from that. Almost like a blurry after image, like a double exposure. And what I find interesting about this is, and this is hard science, we have the ability to encode data in DNA right now. That is not science fiction. That exists. We don't do it for a few reasons, the primary being cost. But we actually do have the ability to do it. And so it's always fascinated me, this idea that, maybe some of it is, in a very hazy way, genetic memory. And it would certainly explain why you have a certain affinity for a particular culture if a lot of your ancestry is from that culture. And the same would also apply to geography. If a lot of your ancestors are from a particular region, you might have an affinity for that region and that culture that was there at that time. It would explain why you ever meet someone and you just instinctively, you connect with them right away. Or the opposite happens, you meet someone and you just instantly dislike them. And you can't explain why. Well, maybe some of that is genetic memory. Now again, that is very hazy. You could call it pseudoscience if you want. I think that's a little too harsh. I'm of the belief that we just don't have the ability yet to scientifically measure it. We don't have the instruments yet to detect it. So that's where I stand on the subject. You might totally disagree. But bringing it all back to the root thesis. There's too much that's happened in my life that I can chalk up to just chance. There are too many statistical coincidences. Too many things that had to happen in a specific order of operations over a span of decades for me to stand here right now in a place that I saw ever since I was a child and wanted to live here and felt called to be here. Because you've probably noticed, to legally immigrate to this country is extremely difficult. And the story of how I got in is, honestly, it's got to be 1 in 10 million. I'm not exaggerating those odds. Too many things had to happen. Now, is it possible that it's all statistical, random chance, coincidence? Yeah, it's possible. I have to leave open that possibility that maybe it is just random chance. But don't ask me to scientifically validate this, because I can't. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling I've had my whole life, that this is where I'm supposed to be. And I uprooted my old life, walked away, gave up all of it to come here and build this new life because I wanted it. And I wanted it for over 4 decades. And I have no idea why. And now that I'm here, it was worth it. It was worth all of it. And it is frankly surreal standing here, experiencing this. And it messes with my head. And that's why I'm curious when other people in the comments say they experience this calling, they feel the same way. There has to be something more at work here. I don't know what it is, but I refuse to believe it's just random chance. There has to be some greater design at work, simply because the weight of mathematical probability leans in that direction. So I don't have a definitive answer for you. But I think it's important to pose the question and compare notes. So you tell me, if you feel this calling, why do you feel it? And why does it drive you? And what images are in your mind's eye? What emotions does it stir in you? Let's have that discussion.
Ultimately, we may never know why some people, myself included, experience this deep calling in the soul to live in Scotland. Perhaps it is so special precisely because it can't be defined. Or perhaps it only makes sense after life's journey is complete. Whatever the answer is, the truth is inescapable. For some people, regardless of where they are from, Scotland is home.